best keyboard Razer never made. Now, if that's not a clickbaity title, I don't know what is, but it's kind of the case here. So a month ago, I found out I had 2 weeks of leave at work left over that I had to take up this year. And with the whole lockdown situation, I had nothing to do. So I decided to modify an existing keyboard. Now, I found my Razer Blackwidow Chroma from 2014 or 2015, and I figured let's use this as a base. So I'm going to take my ugly face off of screen and show you guys this gorgeous keyboard instead. So here is the Razer Woodpecker Chroma, although I'm not actually running any chroma lighting because I think it looks a bit tacky. As you can see, this is the footprint of the original keyboard, and by integrating the wrist rest, I was able to make a keyboard that's much bigger, and that's really great when you have a cheap IKEA desk with a lot of pits in it. You can just put your keyboard on top and no one will ever notice. So that's really a great benefit of going with a massive full-size keyboard like this. Now, something that's incredibly popular in the custom keyboard world right now are these smaller keyboards. This is a 65% keyboard, and the real reason people get this is because they're just too poor to afford a full set of switches and keycaps. They claim it's something to do with angle and ergonomics and your shoulder width and your mouse being over here closer to the keyboard, but really they just buy this sort of stuff because they're poor and they can't afford a custom full-size keyboard like this. As you can see, this keyboard uses the GMK 9's keycaps, and they're mounted on these incredible Razer green switches. Now, Razer green switches are almost as good as the best switches in the world, the best of course being Sherry MX Blues, and these are a copy of them. However, I wanted something a little bit more stealthy. So what I've done is I took some lube from my bike and put bike chain lube inside these switches. Now, of course, I wasn't going to bother taking them out, so I just pushed them down and put some lube in. And they sound absolutely amazing, actually. Take a listen. Now, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? What's even better is, because this is a Razer PCB with Razer plate-mounted stabs that just snap in and use these weird bars, it's not actually compatible with this keycap set. So I was able to remove the stabilizers for just a more flexible layout, is what I would call it. What's really great about it is it really teaches you to hit that spacebar right in the middle. Same goes for the backspace key, because there's no stabilizers in here either. And this is really good to learn to type accurately, because if you press the spacebar over here, absolutely nothing happens. One of the best things about starting off with a Razer keyboard is you can get more buttons in, because it uses a really cool custom bottom row. So if you're ever feeling like not really in control, because you only have one control key on the right side of your keyboard, well, this keyboard actually allows you to have two of them. And they are individual switches, so you can be twice as in control as usual, which is great when you're playing video games. I'll get to that right now. As I said, this is not some sort of poor people custom keyboard. This actually has more keys than a standard full-size keyboard. And so we have a couple of macro keys here. These are all programmed by me, custom for this application, to be the best in gaming ever possible. So the top key right here is a division key, so this is just to get your kill-death ratio up incredibly high. Underneath I have a delete key. If I press this, it'll literally delete my opponents from the map. Under that is page up, and the reason this is page up is because when I press this button, I'll just shoot up a page on the leaderboards of whatever game I'm playing. The F is of course for Fs in the chat when I'm watching a stream. That happens occasionally, but usually I'm the center of attention here, so I'm the one streaming. And then end is when I just want to end my opponent's life completely without pressing the delete. Now, one of the things I wanted to do was get this sort of wood finish, but I found out that using actual wood was pretty damn difficult. And I wanted to be very efficient with my time, so I just went with a vinyl wrap on top of actual wood instead. But I still wanted to capture that essence of nature, and nature is never really perfectly flat or perfectly smooth. And so over here, I actually made it a little bit more wavy. As you can see, it flexes a little bit. This is much more natural than just having solid aluminium or solid wood. And that's something I really like about this keyboard, is it's not perfect. You know, there's this thing in life where everyone wants to be perfect. No, I want to get back to the roots, get back to nature, and make stuff that's almost perfect, even though this thing is definitely better than anything else on the market. But then this is not on the market, this is a custom one-off, especially for me, because I'm so awesome. Now, of course, no keyboard review is complete without a typing test. So I'm here on Type Racer in my Red Beetle, and I'm going to do some typing. So, nope, that's wrong. No, I'm completely wrong, okay. Now, that's what it sounds like when you're an amateur at typing. I obviously did this completely on purpose because I'm an amazing typist. Obviously, that's why I use Razer Greens. So let's do a simulation of what it sounds like when you're replying to an email that you already replied to 15 different times and they keep asking the same damn question. Let's try something a little bit nicer. We just have a new match on Tinder and we want to make a good impression. There we go, that was the best pickup line ever. Now, a little problem I have with this keyboard is I keep hitting the damn caps lock key, which is horrible for my typing. The reason I keep doing that is because Razer, in their infinite wisdom, made this left shift key absolutely tiny. And so I have a little other key here, but whenever my pinky is moving over to hit the shift key, I actually am like, wait, this is not the shift key, I have to move over further, and then I accidentally hit the caps lock key. So let's get my face back on screen and be a little bit more serious about this keyboard. Alright, so I started this video off with a healthy dose of sarcasm, maybe a little bit too much. So let's be serious for a second here. Again, this is a Razer Blackwidow that I modified. The reason I modified it is because I very recently got into the custom keyboard hobby, and the waiting times for those products are insane. I ordered a GMMK Pro, I ordered my GMK 9's key set, I ordered some Kale Navy switches because I do actually like clicky switches. That was not a joke. But I can't wait until April or June even to get a keyboard. So I wanted to do something a little custom myself. And again, I had some time off from work, so I started on this board. I actually started out in Photoshop. I just took a top-down picture, did some reference measurements, and just in Photoshop created a top profile and a side profile of what I wanted. The keyboard was then machined by hand out of an 18mm thick piece of MDF. And MDF is perhaps not the best choice. I thought it would be a brilliant choice, but the problem with MDF was later on when I was trying to paint this thing, it's just a total sponge. I was using primer. I went through about 1 liter of primer on what is effectively a very small project. And it just kept sucking up primer like crazy. And yeah, that was very expensive. I then wanted to put a veneer on top of it, and I had this incredible veneer that would match these keycaps perfectly. It looked absolutely amazing in Photoshop, I think, and the colors matched perfectly and everything. But that was 160 euros because I could only buy it in like 3 square meters at a time, and I need like half a square meter. So I bought some cheaper veneer that I could buy in a small form factor on a Dutch website, but the quality of that stuff was horrendous and the glue came through, so I glued the entire thing on, and then I noticed, wow, this is ridiculously ugly. It's got pits and bumps all over the place because the veneer was flexing from the glue and all that. So I had to rip it off and again start sanding, start priming, and then I just covered it in vinyl, and I actually think the vinyl looks pretty good. I think I did a decent job. However, the paint job is not up to what I would call good enough standard. So as you can see, it's not the deep piano black that I wanted. I wanted this to be super glossy, but not like plasticky glossy, like proper piano black, and it's more of a satin black. And it's also an absolute fingerprint magnet. So I'm pretty proud of the project, but it's not as perfect as I would have hoped. And I guess that's kind of the thing with this project. It's something you learn from. And obviously I'm definitely still interested in custom keyboards. So it's something that I'm going to continue to do and mess around with. But this was a very good learning experience, because the actual finished project, once I put the Razer keycaps on again that actually work with these stabilizers, the actual keyboard is really good. There's just no flex. I actually do think it sounds incredible. It's so smooth. I mean, I looped these keys with bike chain oil, which was not a joke, by the way, but it just feels so smooth. And yes, I do have a third-party person who can verify that they are indeed very smooth. They went from being a clicky switch to more of a tactile bum. The clickiness is kind of gone, but it still feels really good to me. And because I'm not very good at being patient and doing meticulous work, some keys are a bit more clicky than others. But I think, you know, for a first-time project, that's okay, I guess. It's something to learn from, to put more time in, to do it better next time. And again, I didn't modify the Razer stuff in any way. So this is, if I ever want to just sell the Black Widow, I could just take it all apart and sell it that way. Or I could sell the whole thing, even though I'm not, you know, fully happy with the results. Because again, the vinyl cutting is a bit too much cut on the bottom, not enough cut on the top really. So yeah, the pass-through still works. I still have my audio cables on the side. All of that still works, but it was a good experience. I definitely recommend you guys to try something similar if this is something you're interested in. However, I would say if you're going to work with MDF, get a proper MDF sealer even before you apply your primer. Anyway guys, that was it. Let me know in the comments if you liked seeing my attempts at humor, or if you don't. And then do the whole YouTube like and dislike and comment and share and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. I actually made a new intro. Let me know what you think. I also made a new outro, which I'm going to play right now.